guys, I'm a cyclist here in Boogeyman. First race of the season, Icebreaker time trial. One of our favorites. It is a great time trial course. Out and back. Out, it's ever so slightly downhill. Back, it's ever so slightly uphill. That's how it works, right? Today I'm going to do the unthinkable, and I'm going to actually put a GoPro on my bike while I'm TTing. So un-aero. What the hell am I thinking? On top of that, I'm actually not even using my TT bike, mostly because I hate my TT bike and I like my road bike. So I've been kind of doing a little bit of time trialing over the last year and a half, Mercs style, if you will. Not true Mercs because I got my 50mm wheels on, but whatever. So I like doing that on my road bike, and in fact, I tend to be actually a little faster anyway. So no complaints here. Racing the Masters 4.5 today because I'm an old dude and I have the option of doing that. He's racing up a category today in the juniors. Since this is on the development racing series, he has the option of doing that, and it helps him to qualify for future events too. So very thankful to the guys at Taco Time Racing for putting this on every year. Somehow we managed to get a beautiful sunny day. Look at that. That's the sun in the sky. And it's March 2nd in the Seattle area. So, I mean, you can't complain about this. We've had perfect weather for this race for like the last 3 years in a row, which never happens this time of year. So yeah, we're excited about this. First real race of the season, right here, right now, today. It's a great way to start it off with the time trial. Okay, we're going to talk through our bike setups for today, very quickly.
Fast forward F4R carbon tubulars, no bottle cages, and a standard road bike.
Pretty much standard, yeah. Actually, the Boogeyman just recently graduated and slammed that stem. For mine, we're looking at the Campy Bora Ultra 50 wheels. Yes, I'm going to be rolling a GoPro. And, you know, rolling that GoPro, I'm probably sacrificing 200-300 watts, you know, to aerodynamic drag. So all in the name of documenting this race. You know, you got to do what you got to do, right? So if I lose today, it's 100% because of the 300, 400, 500 watts that I'm losing because of that thing hanging out the front there. So wish me luck. Wish me luck. Other than that, as far as what's on the bike here, standard road bike again. I have a TT bike, don't like to use it. No bottle cages. Shouldn't really need bottle cages. If I need bottle cages on a 10-mile time trial, lots of cars going by. If I need bottle cages on a 10-mile time trial, something's gone terribly wrong. So I'll drink beforehand. I'll take a gel beforehand, and I shouldn't really need any nutrition while riding. I got plenty of nutrition on the way back, or once we get back to the car, and we'll talk through some of that too. So a little bit about our warm-up routine. The Boogeyman and I both have these feedback sports trainers. I've been warming up on mine for a little while because my start time's about an hour ahead of his. I actually don't like these trainers very much, but they're great for portability. I've taken them on airplanes and had no issues as a carry-on. So while I don't really like it, it's a means to an end, and it works just fine. This is the kind of course where we could definitely warm up on the course, except you know, that's just a recipe for getting flat tires, and I've had bad enough luck with flat tires this year. I don't need to take any chances with that. So doing my warm up on the trainer, plus that way I can be a little bit more consistent too with what it is that I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to talk through a little bit of this time trial here. Starting right off the bat, you'll notice the first several pedal strokes out of the saddle, pretty decent wattage, not enough to get me into the red or anything, just enough to get the off the line quickly. You won't be able to see me, because the GoPro doesn't do that. It aims forward, so you're seeing everything in front of me. But what you do see there is the shadow of me. And something I want to point out is the forearm position. It may look like I'm stretched out, but that's really because this is an early morning TT and the sun is very much at my back. I'm not up at all. In fact, if you look at that forearm angle, it's very much 90 degrees. I'm on the hoods and kind of laying down. I'm really, really close to the top tube on the bike, and in fact, I'm kind of almost like kissing the stem here. So one of the things that I've noticed is that body positioning makes a huge difference. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about pacing here too. Both the Boogeyman and I went out on this time trial with specific goals in mind. I tested my FTP about 6 weeks ago. It was about 260 watts. I was able to do a 278 watts for 20 minutes. And I was pretty close to dead when that happened. So that was on a trainer. Sometimes you can do a little bit more on the road than you can on the actual trainer and whatever, but I tend to be pretty consistent. If I do 260 on the trainer, I'm doing 260 on the road. So I went out with the goal of doing kind of a negative split, maybe starting at around 250 to 260 and then finishing above that, maybe 270 to 280, averaging around 260 to 270 by the end of this time trial. It's only 10 miles, so it should only be about 25 minutes, give or take, at a pretty decent speed. You'll notice though my speed, my power here is actually higher than that. And I started off the race going a lot higher of a power than I thought I would. And I kept telling myself the entire time, just calm down, calm down. You don't need to go this hard. You don't need to go this hard. Now, if you look at my max heart rate there, or my heart rate, it's sitting at 179. I'll hit 180, and if once I get into the final sprint, I do in the mid 180s. But my heart rate max is well into the 200s, so I'm sitting very low on my heart rate. I could easily have gone a little harder, and in fact, I probably wish I had, because I was only 12 seconds off the podium. But that's okay. I was really trying to pace myself, and I was making sure I had fuel in the tank on the way back. This is an out and back course. Where did you see the headwinds coming in from, Boogeyman? Where were they coming from?
Towards us, going this way.
Yeah. So on the way out, even though it's a downhill, as Boogeyman points out, the headwinds were coming at us. So it felt good to be going downhill. It felt bad to be having that 5-6 mile an hour headwind. It wasn't a huge headwind, but it was enough that it was noticeable. And unfortunately, on the way back, the headwind doesn't do that much because
we're going uphill.
We're going uphill, yeah. So it helps just a little tiny bit. It's a tailwind at that point going uphill, but you're still going uphill. Now, it's not a lot. If I put the gradient on here, you'd see that you lose like over 5 miles going out, you lose like 60 feet, and you gain 60 feet coming back. So it's not a lot. But what you'll see is I tried to kind of temper my power and then bring it back up once I realized that I didn't need to temper my power. As a matter of fact, I had a time trial last year where my power meter was off and I was averaging 320, and I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm a superhero. I wasn't a superhero. I just had a power meter that was miscalibrated. This time that wasn't the case. I was looking at my speed. I was doing consistently around 25 miles an hour, which I was happy with. So, and it definitely meant that my power was not wrong. My power meter was not wrong. So, with holding a little bit higher power and then still saving some in the tank, if you see at the turnaround, you'll notice that the guy that's behind me is closing in on me on the turnaround, and I realized I just had to go out. Balls out on the turnaround from there back, and I kept him from closing. And in fact, I actually opened up more of a gap on the way back, and that's just probably because I'm a little bit lighter than he was, and he was on a TT bike, I was on a road bike. So, but the big thing that I've got to stress here, and I'll splash a picture of the Boogeyman on the screen here, and that one of our photographer friends in the area took, and I'm appreciative of that. You'll notice the body positioning. The Boogeyman and I have worked very closely on body positioning. We've noticed significant gains in speed for the same amount of power just by getting that body lower. And in fact, both the Boogeyman and I are very small dudes. I weigh in at 146 pounds. The Boogeyman weighs in at
98 pounds.
98 pounds. So we have that as a disadvantage. Guys that are bigger than us on a flat course like this,
they may be able to put out a lot more power. Well, we don't have the whole we're going uphill to help us out. It's if they're putting out 400 watts and we're putting out 300, they're still going to win. But we do have the advantage of being able to get lower on the bike, so that helps a great deal. And in fact, I've won several time trials over the last year and did pretty well in this one, considering this is a time trial that people actually brought full TT setups, full aero setups, disc wheels, TT, dedicated TT bikes, full triathlon bikes, and still managed to put in a respectable time against those guys. And that's purely because of the fact that the body positioning was correct. And you can see that shadow right, on when you look at it from the right-hand side, from the left-hand side, you can see again that the arms are at 90 degrees, the body is bent down, the head is out of the wind, and that just makes all the difference in the world. So a little bit about the strategy around these time trials is how to pace yourself. If you don't have a power meter, that's okay. Know what your heart rate zones are, but also recognize that they're going to vary much more slowly than your power will. So don't be looking at your heart rate if you put out a hard effort and think, wow, I can survive this. No, give it 10, 15, even 30 seconds and you'll see yourself suffering. If you have a power meter, that's awesome. Both the Boogeyman and I aimed for a negative split this time. And if you're not sure what a negative split is, that's where you divide it up into 2 or even 3 segments and try to pace yourself so that you start lighter on your first segment and finish stronger on your final segment. So in my case, again, I was targeting 260 to 270, so I was intending to start around 250 and then finish around 280. I went out feeling a lot stronger than I thought I would, so I started around 280 and finished around 300 plus, and actually did a finishing drive for the last half a K or so where I was really pushing around 400 to 500 watts. So ideally you want to start, leave yourself something in the tank, and move up from there. So the Boogeyman was targeting his negative split. What were your numbers that you were kind of aiming for while you were doing that, Boogeyman?
I was doing 185 for the first part, 195 for the middle part, and then 205 to 210 for the last bit.
Okay, and you averaged around 200 watts for the whole
Yep.
segment? Yeah, so around 4.5 watts per kilogram, or 200 watts there. So the idea of the negative split is you want to finish giving it everything you've got, not finish it being completely wiped out and exhausted. So that's really one of the key strategies for pacing yourself on a time trial. And you really should practice these, by the way. You should practice time trial efforts. Both the Boogeyman and I went out last weekend. We didn't do 10-mile time trials. We only did about 6-mile time trials, but they helped a great deal. Wouldn't you say so, Boogeyman?
Yeah.
So something else that you noticed earlier on in the video is Boogeyman and I did this time trial without bottles. And really, again, it's a 10-mile time trial. It's 25 minutes, 23 minutes, give or take. There really shouldn't be that much of a need for a bottle. In fact, I saw a lot of folks rolling with, the aero bottles tucked up between their bars and bottle cages and bottles on their bikes and everything. For this distance of time trial, you just don't need them. If you're taking a drink, you're probably woefully underprepared. You're underprepared. You're already dehydrated beforehand if you're having to drink during an effort like this. So for something like this, a 10-mile or 6-mile or 5-mile time trial, which a lot of these are, you can probably ditch the bottle, and you can always drink when you get back. At any point in time, did you feel like you were dying of thirst, Boogeyman?
Nope.
No, not at all. Did you feel hungry?
Nope.
Actually, yeah, for the last 2K, I don't know about you, but my stomach started caving in. It felt like I was completely about to bonk. I don't know if you had that same sensation. But yeah, it was definitely, it felt awful for the last 2K, but you knew you were going to be able to survive till you got back to the car. That being said, have some food and water when you get back to the car. Have some ready for you. We've got some Recover Right that we had. You don't need a whole lot of it. You didn't burn a whole lot of calories in a half an hour. I think my ride, I probably burned 200, 300 calories in that ride. I'm sure yours is probably pretty similar, Boogeyman.
Yeah.
You don't need to take on tons of food and tons of water when you get back, but you don't want to go into the next day dehydrated. So have some electrolytes, have some water handy, and just take that on once you get back. But you don't need it for a 10-mile time trial. 40K time trial, 25 miles, full hour on the bike. Yeah, you're probably going to need at least a bottle of water. but for this one, you can get by without it. So, recapping, what are some of my number one tips, Boogeyman?
Be low.
Be low. Arrow is key on this. Stay low. What else?
Have proper nutrition.
Proper nutrition, absolutely. Eat before you go. Take on sugars, gels, whatever before you go, and make your bike as aero as possible. Aim for
Negative split.
negative split. Target your power. If you don't know your power, go out with a slightly softer heart rate, and then push as you go on. Divide the thing up, divide the time trial up into 2 or 3 segments, and build as you go. 2 last tips here. Number 1, as you're approaching that finish line, empty the tank. Push, push, push. Just get out of the saddle and drive. Number 2, you notice I went past the finish line already. Now I drop my power. Don't stop until 50 meters past the line.
Come on, Will, come on, come on, come on, come on, push to the end. All right, results time, at least for me. No results yet for him, so let's go see how I did. All right, well, looks like I'm just a touch off of podium. Damn, oh well, that was close. But the Boogeyman is on the podium. 2nd place, racing in the age group older than him, and a very respectable time at that. Congratulations, Boogeyman. All right, 2nd place, yeah, racing in the age group ahead of him. So he's racing the 15-16s. At age 13, did over 4.5 watts per kilogram for the entire TT. 4th place, 1 step off the podium, and for a tiny little bit of prize money that there was. And averaged about 290 for the entire time trial, which is about 4.7 watts per kilogram. So, all in all, great day. Very, very tough day, but totally well worth it. All right, guys, thanks again for watching this video. This is one of our favorite races of the year, mostly because it kind of signifies the beginning of race season for us. Stay tuned for some more race breakdowns. We're going to have our next road race a week from today, and we're really excited about that. It's called Tour de Dung, as in Dungeness, you know, a kind of weird name. Excuse me. Huge shout out to Joe Huber and Taco Time Racing for putting on this event. It's always a very well organized event. Somehow they, I don't know, pay Mother Nature to have awesome weather at this event, which is so unusual this time of year, but it seems to be that way almost every time. So huge shout out to them for doing such a great job and for prioritizing juniors racing, and I just can't thank them enough for that. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the bell notification thing if you want to know when we post a new video too. If you don't like this video, pound sand. If you do like this video, then do all those other things. You know, like, subscribe, and all that, and share it with your friends. Thanks. Next time, we'll see you soon.